Welcome back to Mr. Scott Maths. In this video we're going to take a look at writing numbers as a product of their prime factors. Though if there are any other topics you'd like me to cover, just leave a comment down below and I'll get to that video as soon as I can. Also make sure to like and subscribe to make sure you don't miss any future videos. So in this video we're looking at writing numbers as a product of their prime factors. Well, what does that mean? Well, a prime factor, that's going to be any number that's going to be a factor of these numbers that we start with that is a prime number. So that's a number where it can only be divided by 1 and itself. And a product just means we're multiplying those numbers together. So we're going to have a set of prime numbers that we can multiply together to give us our starting number. Say, for example, in this case, that would be 40. So to do this, we need to draw out what's called a prime factor tree. So to draw out a prime factor tree, we need to split this 40 up into some factors of 40. Well, let's think of some factors of 40. We could have 10 and 4. We could have 5 and 8. We could have 2 and 20. We could pick any of these except for 1 and 40. If we split it up into 1 and 40, we just get 1, which we can't do anything with, and 40, which would just be exactly the same place as we already started with. So let's go with 4 and 10. It doesn't matter which one we pick. We'd end up with the same answer overall. But we'll go with 4 and 10 for this one. So now we've got 4 and 10, we need to think, well, is 4 a prime number? 4 is not a prime number because we can divide it by 2. So if we can divide it by 2, let's do that. We divide it by 2. And if we divide it by 2, we get another 2. So now we've got 2 and 2. Split this 4 up into 2 and 2 because 2 times 2 gives us 4. Well, is 2 a prime number? Yes, it is, because it can only be divided by 1 and itself. So we've got to stop at this 2 and also at this 2 as well. But we still got this 10 here. And we've got to think to ourselves, well, is 10 a prime number? Again, no, 10 is not a prime number because we can divide it by 2 and we can divide it by 5. So we split this 10 up into a 5 and a 2, because 5 times 2 gives us 10. Now, is 5 a prime number? Yes, it is. So we've got to stop here. We've already said that 2 is a prime number, so of course we're going to stop here as well. So what we've got here are our 4 prime factors of 40, a 2, a 2, a 5, and another 2. So to make this 40, we can multiply these together. So it'd be 2 times 2 times 5 times 2. Now usually when we're writing these products of prime factors, we'd write them in an index form. So what that means is we're going to have a power somewhere. And in this case, where we've got 3 2's multiplied together, so you'd have 2 cubed and still multiplied by this 5. And if we were then to multiply all this back out again, we'd get 40. So our answer for this one would be 2 cubed multiplied by 5. Okay, let's now do the same for 28. So we've got to again think of 2 numbers we can multiply together to get 28. And it doesn't matter which ones we pick, unless we pick 1 and 28. We don't want to do that. So let's go for 7 and 4 this time. Why not? So these 2 numbers, they multiply together to make 28. Now we're going to ask ourselves, well, is 7 a prime number? In this case, yes, it is a prime number. We can only divide it by 1 and 7, so we can stop at the 7. And how about our 4? 4 is not a prime number. We've seen that before, that we can split that one up into 2 and 2. However, 2 is a prime number, so we stop at these 2's. So our prime factors of 28 are going to be 7, 2, and 2. So we could write 28 as 7 multiplied by 2 multiplied by another 2. And of course, we want to change this into our index form. We've got 2 2's multiplied together. So that's going to become 2 squared. So we're going to have 7 multiplied by 2 squared. Okay, next example is going to be starting with 200. So we're going to look at some slightly bigger numbers now. So let's think of some numbers that we could multiply together to get 200. Well, I'm going to go for 20 and 10. So you can split this 200 up into a 20 and a 10. Now we've got to think, is 20 a prime number? No, it's not. We could split that one up again. We could go 10 and 2, or we could go for 4 and 5. I'm going to go for 4 and 5. So 4 times 5 gives us 20. Well, we know 4 is not a prime number. We could split that one up again into 2 and 2. We've seen that before. And of course, 2 is going to be a prime number, so we can stop at those ones. 5, that's also going to be a prime number, so we can stop at the 5. But 10 is not a prime number. We can split that 10 up into a 5 and a 2. 5 multiplied by 2 gives us 10. And we've already seen both 5 and 2 are prime numbers. So we stop just there. So our prime factors of 200 are 2, 2, 5, 5, and 2. So we can write 200 as 2 times 2 times 5 times 5 times 2. And of course we want to change this into index form, where we've got 3 2's multiplied together. So that's going to give us 2 to the power of 3. And we've got 2 5's multiplied together, and that will give us 5 to the power of 2. So our answer would be 2 cubed multiplied by 5 squared. Okay, let's now look at one more example. This time we have 108. Well, what can we split 108 up into? Well, an easy way to split these even numbers is we can divide them by 2. So let's do that. We'll divide 108 by 2. And we get 54. Well, 2 is a prime number, so we're going to stop here. But 54 we can split up further. So 54, well, is again another even number. So what we could do is we could just divide it by 2. And this time we'd get 2 and 27. And of course, this 2 is a prime number, so we're going to stop at this 2. Now 27, well, what can we divide 27 by? We can divide it by 9 and 3. And we've got to think, is 9 a prime number? Well, 9 is not a prime number, it's going to be a square number. So we can divide this 9 by 3. And if you divide it by 3, we get another 3. And 3 is a prime number, so we stop at each of these 3's. So our prime factors of 108 are a 2, a 3, a 3, another 3, and another 2. So we could write 108 out as 2 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 2, which of course we can then change into our index form. 2 times 2, well, that's 2 squared. 3 times 3 times 3 is 3 cubed. So our answer for 108 is going to be 2 cubed multiplied by 3 squared. Okay, there's now going to be 2 examples for you to have a go at. So our first one, a slightly smaller number again, we got 48. So if you'd like to have a go at drawing a prime factor tree for 48, remember it doesn't matter which route you take. The route you take might be slightly different to the route that I take in a moment when I go through it. So if you just pause the video for a moment, I'll go through it in just a second. So for 48, the way I'd think about starting is because we've got an even number, we could divide it by 2. And if we divided 48 by 2, we're going to get 24. Well, this 2 is a prime number, so we stop here, but we carry on from the 24. Well, 24 we could write as 6 times 4. 4 is not a prime number, so we need to carry on, and we can divide that by 2. We split it up into 2 and 2, which of course is going to be a prime number. And then 6 we can split up into 3 and 2, or put 2 and 3. And 3 is a prime number as well, of course 2 is, we've already seen 2. So 48 as a product of its prime factors, we can write as 2 times 2 times 2 times another 2 times by 3, which of course we can write in our index form as well. We've got 4 2's multiplied together, so 2 to the power of 4 multiplied by 3. Okay, now one final one for you to have a go at. This time we're starting with 500. So again, if you want to try and draw a prime factor tree for 500 and write 500 as a product of its prime factors. If you pause the video for a moment, I'll go through it in just a second. So for 500, what I'd first of all start off by doing is you could say split it up into 50 and 10. Well, 50 is not a prime number, so we can split that one up again. We could go for, say, 2 and 25. Well, 2 is a prime number, so we're going to stop at this 2, but 25 isn't. And we can split that into 5 and 5. 5 is a prime number, so we'll stop at these 5's. We've now got our 10. We can split our 10 up into 5 and 2. Both of which we've already seen are prime numbers. So our prime factors of 500 are going to be 5, 5, 2, 5, and another 2. So we could write it out as 5 times 5 times 2 times 5 times 2. Which of course we could write then in index form, where we've got 3 5's all multiplied together, so that would give us 5 to the power of 3. And we've got 2 2's multiplied together, which would give us 2 squared. So our answer, 5 cubed multiplied by 2 squared. Make sure to like and subscribe for more maths videos.